Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, you're welcome. My name is Fon, and if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe to help this channel grow. And if you're a member, you're welcome back. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you on how to make this overlap skirt with draped at one side with sleeves. So if you want to know how I'll be going about it, keep on watching. First thing I did was to go ahead to fold in my drafting paper into two. After folding it into two, the next thing I did was to go ahead to draw a straight line. This straight line is my guideline as well my waistline. I will measure from the waist to the hip deep line, which is 7.5, from the waist to the length, which is 21.5 inch. I will connect that up with a straight line. The next thing I will do is to go ahead and level it up, the waistline, the hip deep line, and the length. Once I'm done doing so, the next thing I will do is to go ahead now. I'll put 1/4 of my waist measurement. Around my waist is 26. 26 divided by 4 will give me 6.5. But I'm going to be adding 1 inch for the sewing allowance. Altogether will be 7.5, and mark that up. Then I'll come here to my hip deep line. I'm going to put 1/4 of my hip measurement. Around my hip is 37. 37 divided by 4 will give me 9.025. Then I'm going to add 1 inch to it. Mark that up. Then after doing so, I'll measure whatever I have from this top part. I'm going to minus 1 inch from there. Just connect that up like this. After marking it up, I'm going to go ahead now to connect that up like this. Then I'm going to take my pan curve ruler and I'm going to connect this top part like so. After connecting it up, I'll go ahead now to cut that up. After cutting, I'll go ahead to use this pattern to cut the back piece. So I added 1 inch for the dark and 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Okay, I'm going to move this aside, then go ahead now and open up my pattern. Here is the waist, here is the hip deep line, and here is the length. Remember. Now, next thing I'll do now is to go ahead now. I'm going to roll my center line like this. After drawing the center line, the next thing I will do is to come here at the center. I'm going to go in by 2 inch. 2 inch. I will go down here by 2 inch from the hip deep line. I'm going to go down by 2 inch. Then I'll go ahead now to connect it up like this. Once you connect it up, you make sure whatever you have here should be 2 inch. After going down by 2 inch, you make sure whatever you have should be 2 inch and mark that up. Okay, just connect that up. Now what I will do now is just to grab up my French scarf. I'm going to connect it all the way to the other 2 inch like this. After connecting that, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure from the waist to all the way where I want the sleeves to start from. I'm going to go down by 13 inch. I'll mark that up. Next thing I will do is to come here. I'm going to go in by 3.5 inch. I'm going to mark that up right here like this. After marking it up, I'm going to connect it all the way to here like this. Now, next thing I will do now is I want to come here at this other side. I'm going to go down by 2 inch and mark it up. So we need to connect it all the way to this other side, like so, like this, right, like so. So you can see what I just did. Right. Next thing I will do is just to go ahead and connect that up like this, okay, like so, all the way like this. Then I make sure everything is good and nice. Then now the next thing I'll kind of do right here is to go ahead. I'm going to be blending this part here because it look like too straight, which I don't want it to be straight. So I'm going to blend it up like this, okay? Blend it up like this. That's to avoid it from being too sharp. All right? After blending it up, I'm just going to continue that line all the way down to the 2 inch. Now I'm going to go ahead now and cut that up. Take note the way I'm cutting this up. I'm going to be using this piece now to cut my fabric like so. After cutting it, what I will do is to go ahead, I'm going to comb this back on top like this. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just follow all the steps. You see that your skirt is going to come out well. So I'll cut this other part here. Then now I'll just go ahead now to mark 1 inch each. We're going to be slashing that up. Mark 1 inch each, okay? All the way to this other side. Then from this other side, you're going to measure 4 inch downward. Then you start marking your 1 inch from that 4 inch. And then count whatever you have to the other side and mark the same. After doing so, just go ahead now, connect it with a straight line all the way like this. Now level them up. I'm going to use this pattern before I go ahead to slash. I'll use this to cut my lining, okay? Then I'll slash it up. After slashing it up, I'll take up my pattern. I'll place it on top of my fabric while pinning the downer part so it should not move. When I'm done pinning it, I want my drape to be 1.5 inch. So for the 1.5 inch, I'll have to mark 3 inch. So by the time we fold it, it's going to be 1.5 inch. I'll mark 3 inch and place it up. I'm going to continue marking the 3 inch all the way to the end, and make sure when I mark it up, I hold the other side and pin so it will not be moving up and down. 3 inch each. So when I'm done spraying it up, I'm just going to connect it up like this in a kind of an angle, a triangle. So by the time we'll cut it up, it's not going to be shorter, okay? We'll go ahead now to cut that up. And the next tutorial is going to be on how to sew up this skirt. So the next tutorial is going to be coming up very soon. Do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I hope you really enjoy watching this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you on my next sewing project. After cutting it, this is what it looked like.